Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. So welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you guys are doing good. I really do. So I just got done doing, earlier today, maybe a couple hours ago, I just got done doing the another episode of Knowing the Constitution, actually knowing the Declaration, covering the second part, which I started back in like May of last year. Holy crap, it's been a while since I've done a Knowing the Constitution episode. I didn't end up liking it. I'm going to have to redo it. I'm going to shorten it down quite a bit. It ended up being way longer than what I wanted it to be. And it was just kind of, I didn't like it. I didn't like how it went. So I'm going to have to redo it. So I'm going to be doing that right after the show. And we'll be posting that shortly thereafter. I actually got in trouble today because I guess I've done like 3 different videos posting it. And he's like, dude, you normally do one once a week. What's going on? I'm like, dude, it's okay. Deep dives into things. That's what I'm doing. Just doing a couple deep dives into a couple topics, having fun with it. So there you go. So today, guys, we've got some stuff to cover. We've got some stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Jussie Smollett stuff going on there. We're going to be talking a little bit about, what's some of the other stuff that we got going on? Math. We're going to be talking math, surprisingly enough. We're going to be talking about an article that I had heard about on a show that I listen to quite often on SiriusXM, the Patriot Channel 125, the Wilkow Majority with Andrew Wilkow. We're going to be talking about an interview that he did on a guy that had wrote an article. I believe it was on the 7th. They're going to be talking a little bit about Elon Musk, touching base on him. Got some stuff that he has said. We want to be talking a little bit about what has been going on with the Supreme Court in Texas. Oh, yeah. And we're even going to bring a couple things up with, oh, yeah, the border. Yeah, some of that different kind of stuff. But we are going to start it off in typical Ho-Ho Show fashion. We're going to be talking about something that is, okay. When I read this, I got to be honest with you, I laughed. Probably harder than what I should have. This article, this headline from Unilad. Now, okay, first of all, let me give you guys a little premise on this. We've all thought about it. Road rage is one of them things that sometimes people just tick you off. And especially in this case, where you've got basically a Hatfield and McCoy style feud going on over a parking space, come to find out. This headline from Unilad. Man arrested after using flamethrower to settle parking dispute. Oh yeah. You guys heard that correctly. A man arrested after using a flamethrower to settle a parking dispute. Yes, I had to chuckle. Oh, wait, that's the wrong button. There we go. Now it's working. So, yeah. Oh, that thing is off. I need to fix that. I'll fix that later. So, like I say, guys, we've all considered this. We've all thought about it. Of course we have. We've all thought about this. We've all had people that tick us off, and especially in this case, because apparently what happened was they had been fighting over a parking space for some time, and I guess the flamethrower is a normal thing that comes out to play from time to time. I believe this is the first time this guy has been arrested with it, and I actually had to laugh too because I was looking at the article a little bit, and he posted a $15,000 bond. And prosecutors are still trying to decide whether they're going to proceed with charges. I mean, he had to have broken a law somewhere, right? I mean, you just don't go after people with a flamethrower, And I guess this thing can shoot up to like 20 feet. It's a pretty decent flamethrower, I'm telling you. But apparently he didn't, I'm assuming, I can only assume, considering they're still trying to decide whether they're going to charge the guy or not, I can only assume that he didn't actually threaten anybody with it. I mean, you would think that the presence of a flamethrower would be threatening enough, but apparently he wasn't trying. I can only assume that he wasn't going after anybody, and he wasn't trying to vandalize or destroy any property. That's the only thing that I can assume on this. that he was bringing out the flamethrower simply to make a point. Stay off my parking space. Stay off my lawn. That's the only thing I can figure. I mean, that's it. That's the only thing I can figure. And while we're talking about things that are completely ridiculous, I seen this article, and I've seen this a couple different times. This is not the first time I've seen this. This is actually something that has been getting talked about for, I don't know, a couple weeks, really, But this headline from Washington Examiner. Are you guys ready for this? Math isn't racist. Our garbage public school system is. And this headline kind of going across to the same thing from the Daily Signal. Scientists take a stand against woke math because apparently math is now somehow racist. That's what they say. It's somehow racist. And I guess what they're trying to say is that, minorities can't possibly be expected to conform to a form of education where solutions to problems, well, all of it's binary. Either you got it right or you got it wrong, and there is no gray area. 2 + 2 = 4. It doesn't equal 4.5. It doesn't equal 5, but apparently, somehow, having that standard of truth is somehow racist. We can't possibly expect black students to be able to understand and figure out that 2 + 2 = 4. Somehow, math, because it's binary. There is no gray area. There is no room for discussion. Either you get it right or you get it wrong. There is no grading curve when you're talking right or wrong in math. It's very simple. It's very basic. You don't have to, and here's the thing. This is the glorious part about it. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is why I liked math in the get-go. All right. I never was a fan of grammar. I hated grammar. Okay. You first learn that Sam can run, and then it's Sam can run far. Sam can run fast. Sam can run fast while going to the club in March. They keep throwing different things in there. First it's just a noun and a verb, and then maybe you got something else, and then you're going to add adverbs and adjectives and conjunction, junction. What's your function? It keeps getting more complicated and complicated. The farther you go up into the education, it keeps getting more complicated. The rules change. And then there's diagrams and this, that, and the other. And, it's circumstantial. It's like spell this word and spell this word. Or if I ask you to spell the word to, you're going to ask me to put it into a sentence because there's 3 different ways to spell the word to. It depends on how you're using it. But English is about circumstance. Things change from day to day, from usage to usage. But math is pure. Math doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care about your emotions. Math is stable. It's logic. It is steadfast. 2 + 2 = 4. I don't care if you're in the 1st grade. I don't care if you're in the 12th grade. I don't care if you are doing a doctorate in medicine. I don't care if it's calculus. I don't care if it's geometry. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 will always equal 4. No matter how scientific your calculator is, 2 + 2 = 4. That's all there is to it. But apparently that's too much to expect from minorities. Again, I find it absolutely ridiculous. I really do. The one thing that we have in this world that we don't have to worry about becoming woke just got woke. Are you kidding me? What's next? I shouldn't ask that. I really shouldn't ask that. I should take that back. Oh man, can you really put that back in the bag once you've taken that out again? There's some things you just can't take back once you've thrown it out into the ether, and that might be one of them. Oh, that's a bad deal. That's a really bad deal. But guys, isn't that just absolutely ridiculous? You know, is for wokeness to attack math because there's just no give there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care about your wokeness. 2 + 2 is 4. Period. How sad is that? That they're now attacking that because, you know, and here's the thing, and this is the crazy aspect of it. They want to call us racists. They really do. You know, that they want to call us racist, and yet they're telling us that minorities are too stupid, are too lazy. They have, you know, I don't even know. I don't even know what they're saying. That's how ridiculous it is. I truly don't understand, and I don't grasp the concept of what it is that they're trying to tell us by saying that the minorities can't grasp the concept of 2 + 2 = 4. Therefore, it's got to be racist. Wait a second. I mean, I don't understand the thinking that gets to that. I really don't. I mean, if you guys can explain it to me, I am all ears. I am ready, waiting, and willing to hear an explanation on that. You know, and I mean, granted, I'm probably going to tell you that whatever explanation you're coming up with is BS. It's Bravo Sierra. Just going to throw that out there. But I'm willing to hear you out. You know, I'll let you speak. You know, I'll do that. I will absolutely do that. Moving on from that ridiculousness. So I brought up earlier in the show, and this is actually why I didn't get too terribly far into this whole, because there's other things I can throw out there with this whole wokeness, woke math. There's a place I can go on this. There really is. But there is an article. It was either yesterday or it was Thursday. I'm not 100% sure. Wait a second. What's today? Today is the 11th. So maybe this was... All right, so I don't remember if this was yesterday or if this was Thursday. I should have just given up on that right there. But I was listening to... You guys know that I consume a lot. You know, I listen to... You know, whenever I'm out on the road, you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I am listening to a lot of radio, you know, and one of the things that I listen to is SiriusXM Patriot Channel 125. I definitely recommend checking out that lineup. One of my favorite shows to listen to is the Will Cow Majority, that is the noon to 3 spot, Monday through Friday, and that is noon to 3 Eastern. But he was doing an interview on a gentleman about an article that he wrote on December 7th, of 2021, so just a handful of days ago. It is an article that was put in the Tablet magazine, Tablet Mag, Tablet mag.com. That is tabletmag.com. You guys can check that out. But what I would recommend you doing is heading over to thehohoshow.com. Click on that newsfeed tab. There you will see the magazine for today. And in that magazine, there is the tablet. You guys can click on that. It is an article. You can read it. It is a short read, and it is a good read. Okay? Now, is what he is describing, and I listened to this interview, and I read the article. All right? What he is describing is waking up from the wool that was pulled over his eyes from the Democrat Party. That's more or less what it amounts to. And reading this and listening to this interview, it was a really good interview. You know, if you guys have SiriusXM, you guys, head on over to, do the download thing, you know, the listen from stuff in the past and check out that. It might have been the 8th whenever he did it. I don't know, it was Thursday or Friday. I don't know. Why y'all's questioning me? I'm okay, really, I am. But whenever I was reading this article, it really did, it resonated with me. Okay, it really did. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire article. I really do want you guys to read it. There is some really good stuff in here. Okay, I just so happened to type me out one. You can still head on over online, thehohoshow.com. Just click on the newsfeed tab. There is that magazine on Flipboard. And in that magazine on Flipboard, The Turn, right there, there you go. Now, he talks about a lot of things, okay? And more or less is what he's talking about. The Turn, as far as he sees it, is a great awakening, okay? I got a couple paragraphs that I really do want to read for you. Oh, wow, that one's kind of long. And then I think the other one is, that one's good. Okay, so I'm starting off in, I don't know, a page or a little bit into it. You might be living through the turn if you ever found yourself feeling like free speech should stay free, even if it offended some group or individual, but now can't admit it at dinner with friends because you are afraid of being thought a bigot. You are living through the turn if you have questions about public health policies, including the efforts of lockdowns and school closures on the poor and most vulnerable in our society, but can't ask them out loud because you'll be labeled an anti-vaxxer. You are living through the turn if you think that burning down towns and looting stores isn't the best way to promote social justice, but feel you can't say so because you'll be called a white supremacist. You're living through the turn. If you see that watching a terrorist organization attack the world's only Jewish state, but seethed silently because your colleagues were all on Twitter and Facebook sharing celebrity memes about ending Israeli apartheid, while having little interest in American kids dying on the street because of failed policies. Now, this next section that I want to read is one of them that really lays it out for you. Let me start in this one, But having been there, I have one important thing to tell you. If the left is going to make it right wing to simply be decent, then it's okay to be right. Why? Because after 225 long and fruitful years of this terminology, right and left are now empty categories, meaning little more than the blue team and the green team in your summer camp's color war. You don't get to be against the rich if the richest people in the country fund your party in order to preserve their government-sponsored monopolies. You are not a supporter of free speech if you oppose free speech for people who disagree with you. You are not for the people if you pit most of them against each other based off of the color of their skin or force them out of their jobs because of personal choices related to their bodies. You are not serious about economic inequality when you happily order from Amazon without caring much for the devastating impact your purchases have on the small businesses that increasingly are either subjugated by Jeff Bezos' behemoth or crushed by it altogether. You are not for science if you refuse to consider hypotheses that don't conform to your political convictions and then try to ban critical thought and inquiry from the internet. You are not an anti-racist if you label and sort people by race. You are not against conformism when you scare people out of voicing dissenting opinions. And this is coming from a guy. Let me premise this a little bit better. This is coming from a guy who is, fairly well-to-do. I mean, I don't know too much about his social class, his economic standing in society. I know he went to an Ivy League college. He talks about that in the article. But he's seen things wrong, and whenever he questioned it, he was ostracized. He was told, cease and desist. Shut your mouth. Watch yourself. Be careful by speaking the way you're speaking. And he was told this by people whom he cared about, whom were his friends, lifelong friends. And there was no love in their heart whenever they basically told him, know your role and shut your hole. You know, what we have in politics, and like I said, guys, this is something that resonated with me because I'm seeing this out of the Republican Party. They claim one thing, but yet they're doing something else. I mean, you know, they claim to have your back whenever it comes to, you know, getting rid of Obamacare whenever we, you know, gave the Republican Party the House and the Senate after that happened. And then there, you know, they did the continuing or the whatever resolution that they did. You know, it's like, oh, we're serious. Whenever we come into power, we're going to do something about this. And then whenever we gave it to them, they said, well, what do you expect us to do? It's not like we have the White House. I mean, it would be a worthless gesture for us to actually write a bill to try to roll back Obamacare. All they gave us was excuses. You know, they campaigned on one thing and they do something different. You know, there was a time, you know, and I've said this before, there was a time that Democrats did stand for something. And one of the things that he's pointing out in this article, I don't remember saying what his name is, but it's Lyle Leibowitz, L-I-E-L, Leibowitz, entitled The Turn. You guys can check that out. Lyle, as long as I'm pronouncing that right, Leibowitz, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that one right. Trying to get that straight. I just completely lost my train of thought. I hate it whenever that happens. But he talks about his journey. Okay. He talks about how in the beginning, he felt based off of what the Democrat Party represented that the only way to be right is to be the Democratic Party. You know, and I've heard this said, you know, that, and I'm sure that you guys have too, if you've been around conservative media at any point in time. You know, I mean, you are heartless if you are a Republican in your youth, and you are mindless if you are a Democrat as an adult. Basically saying that, you know, the Democrat Party is all about feels and emotions, and this is what sounds good. But the Republican Party is all about logic and reason. And come on, man, what do you got to lose? You know, what do you got to lose? I mean, that's actually one of the things that, you know, President Trump actually campaigned upon. What do you got to lose? Vote for me. It ain't going to get any worse. It's more or less what he was telling people. But he talked about this, and I don't want to call it a moment, because he won't even call it a moment. He doesn't describe it as a single individual thing. It was just a progression of how things happened, and how, holy crap, there came a time whenever he just couldn't ignore what was right in front of his face anymore. And conservatives, you know, libertarians, we've been putting up with this kind of stuff for a very long time. That we elect these Republicans into office because they claim to be the opposition party. But nothing truly changes in Washington. You know, it's a different branch of the same tree. It's all connected. It's not an opposing party. It's not an opposition party. It's just a little more center of a branch of the same party. We've been going through getting lied to for a long time. You know, I've even told people that I would have voted for JFK. You know, he was fiscally conservative. There was a lot of things that he stood for on his platform that I agreed with. And if we're truly honest with ourselves in today's political arena, there ain't no way JFK would win the presidency today. It wouldn't happen. Because his beliefs, how he wanted to govern, is not anywhere close to what the Democrat Party has in mind whenever it comes to governing people. It's so far away. And one of them things that this, he doesn't necessarily say it, or at least I don't remember him saying it in this article. You know, they claim to be something that they're not. You know, the Democrat Party, and they accuse the right of doing what it is that they either have done or am doing. It's what they do all the time. You know, there's going to come a time, and this was absolutely hilarious, you know, because whenever he was having the interview with Andrew Wilkow on the Wilkow Majority, Patriot Channel 125, that noon to 3 o'clock hour, Mondays through Fridays. Check that out. Whenever he was being interviewed on his program, it was funny because, you know, he was talking about school choice and how the left wants to attack you and call you a racist for school choice. And he goes, really? I'm a racist? I'm a racist for wanting a black mother to be able to have the opportunity to send their children whom may not have had the opportunities that I have had, and be able to get himself out of poverty. If that's the form of racism that I am, then I'm a crappy racist. But go ahead and call me a racist. I will own that. You know, they throw words out there hoping that the mere utterance of the accusation will be enough to squash your forward momentum, that it will halt your progress right then and there. You know, that's what they're doing. And I've mentioned this on other shows, that you know you've won the battle, you know you've won the argument, when the only thing they can do is start treating you like they are a 2-year-old. When they resort to name calling, they don't want to talk about the issues. They don't want to talk about what's really going on. Whenever you point out the hypocrisy of the left, what do? They bully you. They start calling you names. Because they know that whenever it comes to topics, when it comes to solutions to issues, they know that whenever it comes to that, they don't win an argument. Ever. And they're terrified to have it. That's why they won't. They won't do it. They can't. And they know this. So we are going to go ahead and take a break. And when we get back, guys, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about... Oh, now you're going to give me a notification. That's nice. That's nice. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jussie Smollett case. I tell you what, man, the court system seems to be getting things a little on the right side, I guess you can say. What do I want to play? Hey, let's play that one. All right, guys, just a couple minutes and I will be right back. This is a Ho-Ho Show. Don't go nowhere. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. All right, and we are back. So yes, guys, we are going to go ahead and start off with talking about this Jussie Smollett being convicted of staging the attack and lying to police. Now, you guys remember this. A while back ago, Jussie Smollett was, he told police officers that on his way back home from getting a sandwich at Subway, he was approached by two white guys wearing MAGA hats that put a noose around him, I believe threw bleach on him, beat him, saying, "This is MAGA country." Urgh. And then he escaped. And whenever cops arrived on the scene, and I believe it was like an hour maybe. I mean, it was a pretty significant amount of time between the alleged attack and by the time, and when the police officers arrived at the hotel room, I believe it was, that Jussie Smollett was staying in Chicago. Time had passed. Now, immediately, the police officers are like, something don't smell right. Because whenever they arrived there, he testified that, well, he made it out of there with his sandwich intact. I can speak from personal experience because accidents happen. I did a stupid with the Subway sandwich. That Subway sandwich, it took off. Those bags are not that secure. And that puppy went a-flying. And that was basically just messing around. It wasn't like I was fearful and running for my life after during an attack of two people. And whenever the police arrived on the scene, again, a significant amount of time between the time of the incident and the time that they arrived at the apartment or house or whatever it was. I don't even know. And he was still wearing the noose around his neck. So from the word go, the cops, nobody believed him. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the fact that it was Jussie Smollett, the actor of the TV series Empire, if it wasn't for him being who he was, and of course, because of this, because of the outrageousness and how outlandish the claim was, it got everybody's attention. The police had to do their due diligence for the sake of the mob and investigate this. But believe me, Chicago police knew from the word go that this was BS, it was a hoax, because nothing made any sense about it. I mean, are you going to tell me, it's like, have you ever been tied up? Have you ever been held hostage? Have you ever had your life threatened? Have you ever been put, been put in chains? Had a noose tied around your neck? You're not going to wait an hour just to make a point to police officers that you're still going to have it on your neck whenever they get there. No, you're going to remove that thing as quickly as humanly possible. You're not going to wear it as a trophy. Look what I just overcome and lived through. No, it doesn't work. No. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But that's what Jesse Smollett tried to convince detectives that that's what the case was. He left that thing on to prove to police that he really was assaulted. I've heard of people flat running out of their shoes to get away from an assailant. Nobody believed him. That's the point I'm making, guys. Nobody believed him. Nobody. But you had everybody jumping on the bandwagon. And even whenever things were coming out that it was really looking to be a hoax, whenever things were coming out that the people whom actually attacked Jesse Smollett was a couple people from Nigeria, if I am remembering correctly, is what they said. Now this is what was going on from the left. This is what the left was saying. This was like, people, the anchors and the mouthpieces, people like on The View and different things like that. What they were saying was, we need to listen to Smollett because this type of behavior is rampant in America. This type of racism, we can't tolerate this. And of which case, my immediate reaction to this was, dude, look, if, that's fine. If racism is that bad, that this is the kind of stuff that's happening, then okay, but don't make your flag bearer the person whom you are going to erect a statue of that is supposed to be the epitome of racism. Why are you using a guy who is so obviously making stuff up to make him relevant in his career? If it is so prominent and it happens all the time, you can find a valid example where this actually happened and use that situation as your statue of, we have to stop this. Use that individual as the flag waver for people to rally behind. Instead, they're using a guy who is so obviously making things up that it's pathetic. That's going to be your poster child? That's going to be the statue you erect of racism today? A hoax. Is that what you think about racism in this country? Because that's the thing. That's why people like me look at this kind of stuff and we're like, you guys are just using this as a talking point in order to advance an agenda. Because if this is what is going to be your flag, if this is going to be the statue you erect to open the discussion about racism being an obvious hoax, then now I know what racism in America truly means to you. You look at it as a hoax, but you still want me to just go along to get along and submit to whatever social justice BS crap agenda thing, whatever you want to get accomplished. You just want me to just accept it because you throw out the racist card. You don't even take racism seriously, because if you did, you wouldn't use this as your example of racism. You wouldn't. You have people on The View that said, Well, the fake hate crime, well, it just made sense. It was believable. Only if you live in a bubble. Only if you live in a bubble and you don't think for yourself would this ever make any sense to you. Like I said, the cops that arrived on the scene, the information that was getting released almost instantaneously, none of these people believed it, but yet the people on The View believe it. Apparently they don't have two brain cells to rub inside their head. Apparently they don't. Between all of them, it was obvious to everybody that this was a hoax. Now, the thing that I'm actually kind of curious about, and I already know the answer of this, okay? All right, okay, in court, you got the Aubrey case, you've got the Coffee case, you've got the Rittenhouse case, you got the Jesse Smollett case, and I think there's another one that was even thrown in there as well. Our criminal justice system they've done a lot of work recently. Okay, they've done a lot of work, a lot of cases that revolve around a topic that most people are just absolutely terrified to stand up against, to try to have a rational conversation about. And dude, it is things like this in some small way, in some tiny inkling. I mean, granted, we're never going to get a conviction out of Hunter Biden. We're not going to see jail time there. And that's privilege. It's not white privilege. It's political privilege. We're never going to see Hillary Clinton go into prison. It's political privilege. So, no, we know that. But to see in these type of cases where you have the obvious mob rule, we know what they wanted in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. We know that the left didn't want Jesse Smollett to be found guilty of lying to police officers, but yet he was. I haven't said it yet, so let me go ahead and actually read this, because I was reading this because I was actually kind of curious. The jury found 39-year-old guilty on 5 counts of disorderly conduct, 1 count for each separate time that he was charged with lying to police in the days immediately after the alleged attack. He was acquitted on a 6th count of lying to a detective in mid-February, weeks after Smollett said that he was attacked. The charges is a Class 4 felony that carries a prison sentence of up to 3 years. But experts have said that if convicted, Smollett would likely be placed on probation in order to perform community service. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, he ain't going to see any jail time. He's too high profile for them to throw him in jail. Do I think he deserves to go to jail? You damn right I do. Absolutely I do. Because here's the thing. Make no mistake about it. If he wasn't caught, there would be 2 white people in prison right now. Their lives would be ruined. If he wasn't caught, if his story wasn't so ridiculous not to pass the sniffer test, there would be 2 white guys accused of racism in prison. Their lives would be ruined. Make no mistake about it. That's what road he was going down. This wasn't just a hoax. This was ugly, people. This was ugly. Should he go to prison? Absolutely, he should go to prison. Because with this kind, oh man, with these kind of things, okay, with women that cry rape just because they got mad at their boyfriend. With people like this who are going to cry about racism because they don't want to lose their job. when these kind of things happen, if you want to stop this kind of behavior, you have to make the people whom are making the false accusations responsible for their actions. Now, it's not going to require anything from Congress. It's not. In fact, the only thing that is going to require is the police actually enforcing the laws that are already on the books, making false claims, filling out false police reports. This kind of stuff is already illegal. Start enforcing these freaking laws, for crying out loud, and quit letting people getting away with just lying their butts off for one reason or another. It's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. And until you start holding people accountable, it ain't ever going to stop. Kind of like Hillary Clinton. Kind of like all of that crap. Until these people get held accountable, really held accountable. I mean, not terminated from one government position just to be given another one with higher pay and more rank. I mean, that is one hell of a punishment. I will take that punishment. Oh, beat me, whip me, hurt me, please. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but chicks with whips excite me. Don't you dare tease me with a good time. But that's the type of justice you get with these people more times than not. You're not getting actual justice. You're getting a smack on the wrist. You've been bad. Until we hold these people accountable, we ain't ever going to see a change. It ain't ever going to happen. Guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I get back, we are going to be talking a little bit about these vaccine mandates. We're going to be talking about the Build Back Better plan. We're going to be talking about the lies, we're going to be talking about the accounting tricks that the government likes to throw out there. All that right after this. Don't go nowhere. Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, and we are back. We're going to go ahead and get this. We're going to go ahead and get going on this one. All right. This article from the Daily Wire. Now, the more I hear from this man, the more I like what comes out of his mouth. I really do. This headline is from the Daily Wire. I forgot to turn something off. Let me go ahead and do that one right quick instead of coming back and having that welcome back screen pop back up again. Ain't nobody got time for that. So this headline from the Daily Wire, nothing is more permanent than a temporary government program. Elon Musk continues crusade against the Biden agenda. And staying on Elon Musk, this headline from the Washington Times, Elon Musk calls for ditching the Build Back Better despite electric vehicle tax credits. Now, why would somebody like that, who is benefiting from this, want it to stop? Could it be because he may know a little bit about something, what's in it? Maybe it's because he understands that this is not a positive thing for the United States of America. Could it be that that's what's going on? But I've never heard, like talking about that last headline, nothing is more permanent than a temporary government program. I have never heard any more truth come out of a man's mouth than that right there. And of course, he's talking about the Build Back Better. Now, see, whenever they were trying to say, because they did the CBO report, and that I forget what number they came up with, but it was like, maybe $1 trillion. I don't know. Let me go through this article real quick just to see if I can't see what it is they say it's going to be. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so let me go ahead and read this. All right. Basically, whenever they said that it was going to be a net zero, well, obviously they lied their butt off, because how can you write a bill spending trillions of dollars that doesn't cost the taxpayer anything? I have no idea. So whenever they told us that, I was like, yeah, okay. I'll believe that whenever I see it. And whenever they actually got scored the first time, they scored it the way that the administration wanted them to score it. And it scored, now I heard it scored right around like 1.5 trillion, but according to this article, it scored right around $367 billion. I heard 1.5. But as what they did is they scored it based off of a sunset of 1 year, that these payouts have a shelf life. It's not to last forever. The money's going to go out. It's going to go out for a time, and then the money's going to be cut off. No more money for you. Well, see, here's the problem, though. Once the federal government starts giving out money like that, it doesn't just stop the flow of money. It's a continual, dishing out and payment that is made and payment that is made. So in actuality is what the CBO generally does whenever it is, whenever it's grading a bill on its financial impact, it goes out 10 years. It projects the cost 10 years. And according to this article from Hot Air, Manchin said that it is going to add about $3 trillion to the deficit once all these gimmicks are stripped away, because that's what they did. Okay, they used accounting tricks to try to make it score lower. But Manchin, whom is already concerned with what the Democrat Party is doing and the amount of money that they are spending, going, we don't have this kind of money. What are you trying to do? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if they keep going on the track that they're going, how long is it going to be? And I mean this. How long is it going to be before? How long is it going to be before we lose the global currency standard? How long is it going to be before they strip that away from us? I mean, we aren't the ones that gave it to us. Before we had it, it was had by somebody else. And when that country lost it, the value of their currency dropped literally 87% overnight. So you went to bed, you had $100 in your bank account. You woke up the next morning, you had $13. How far is $13 going to get you, especially with the inflation the way that it is? The problem we have with keeping things on the shelf. How long until how long? How long is that $13 going to get you? Not very far. So after they strip all of the gimmicks out of the way, this 1.5 doubles to 3 trillion. And I heard a dollar amount that was actually a lot closer to like 5.5 trillion. That was the number that I heard. After they actually forecast this out 10 years, instead of playing the gimmicks, the tricks, that's about how far it went. And since we're talking about this whole financial thing that they're doing, well, the Senate passed a bill to avoid the filibuster on the debt ceiling hike. And why they agreed to do that, I have no idea. Do you guys remember not that long ago? I know I talked about it. You guys remember how, we were discussing the raising the debt ceiling, and, they caved in. And they kicked it down the road to December, saying that, we'll do it this time, but we're not doing it again. If they want it to go up, if they want to raise the debt ceiling, the Democrats can do it their own selves. That's what they said. And I knew he was lying whenever he said that, because his mouth was moving. If you're going to cave this time, you're going to cave another time. I mean, don't tell me that, you're going to actually honor what it is that you say, and that those words that come out of your mouth actually mean something, because we know better. It doesn't. I hate to say it, but it doesn't. He's lying, and he did lie. He is doing something. He's making a compromise. This is more or less what it amounts to. He's trying to put himself into a position where he can save face. That's about what it amounts to. He's trying to save face with his constituents. No, I didn't help them actually, pass raise the debt ceiling. I didn't do that. No, but you did create an environment where they can do it with as little resistance as possible. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that helping them pass the debt ceiling? That's what he's trying to do. Save face with he's trying to pay, he's trying to play a political game. That's what he's trying to do. That is exactly what he's trying to do. Moving on. Now, I am sure that you guys have been hearing about this. We are going into a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, the abortion debate. This headline from the Bulwark actually kind of sums a lot of different stuff up. It really does. Can we talk about abortion without tearing each other apart? That's a good question. You know, you really do. You have emotions flare on this one. You know, people are just so passionate on this. And you know, I get it. You know, in a matter of speaking, at a certain level, I understand. You know, because you have people that have believed something for so long, it has become part of their very existence. Even, you know, up to and including, you know, maybe some of these people have gotten abortions themselves, thinking that it was the okay thing to do, thinking that it was the right thing to do, thinking that it wasn't something wrong, bad, inhumane, what have you. They tried to put whatever spin that they could put on it to try to make themselves anything but the bad guy in their own story. So, I mean, I get it. I get it. And in some way, shape, or form, that's what I think what some of this amounts to. The passionate argument has to do with people just, you know, they're so invested in this idea that I can decide what life is even after the baby has come out of the womb. You know, I've heard it said that, you know, if you draw that line, then you're just going to move that line based off of what is convenient for you. You know, that's why, based off of my faith and my beliefs, life begins at conception. But I am at least willing to adhere and acknowledge a scientific debate by going, I'm good with the heartbeat, Bill. You know, because then at least we are using a scientific method, the same scientific method that we use to talk about somebody dying, used to talk about when somebody is living. I'm good with that. I'm not drawing that line. Somebody else is. And that's a logical line, a logical place to draw that line. It makes sense to me. But whenever they want to say, like what they're saying in this headline on the Texas Tribune, that every constitutional right is now at risk because of what the Supreme Court decided based off of this Texas abortion law. And it could lead to copycats, other jurisdictions doing the same thing. Let me, look, this is redonkulous. Because how is there any constitutional right at risk with this ruling by the Supreme Court? Are you really going to have me believe that that's a constitutional right? You know, they want to debate the merits of the Second Amendment. Something that is specifically, this is a right you have. They even include the verbiage of your right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, but yet this is debated all the time. The merit of your right to keep and bear arms for the use of self-defense is debated all the time. You have to defend that, even though that is clearly put in the Constitution. Yet, an obscure line translation of one word is where they get this whole entire thing of my body, my choice. I have the right to kill an unborn baby in my own body. But that's not a right. And when I said obscure language, yeah, I mean, what they want to throw in there like the 13th or the 14th Amendment? Yeah, whatever. What was one of the arguments that I heard? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, wait a second. Didn't you just slide right over that life, that unborn baby's right to live, which is first, but you wanted to skim right over that to your liberty, your right to choose to kill somebody else. Okay. But here's what it amounts to. And I believe this is something that I talked about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe. This isn't even an argument for the Supreme Court because no, it's not an argument for the Supreme Court. This is something, because here's the thing, guys, okay? Here's the thing. When it comes right down to it, this is a 10th Amendment argument. This is not within the purview of the federal government. They do not have any constitutional standing to make this argument, unless they're going to uphold the Constitution by saying, this is when a baby is alive. This is whenever a baby is a person. This is where we're going to rest it, and that's it. But if they're not willing to make that argument, then abortion should be in the hands of the state. That's what the 10th Amendment says. So this isn't about constitutional rights, because just because Roe versus Wade is overturned, that doesn't mean that, oh my God, nobody can have an abortion. Guess what? If you live in California, you can still have an abortion. If you live in Illinois, you can still have an abortion. If you live in New Jersey, in New York, you can still have an abortion. Guess what? If you live in Texas, you can, well, maybe, I don't know. It just depends on how they write the laws on that. But if you live in Florida, you can still have an abortion. Why? Because what is going on out there, and I didn't bring this one up. I didn't think about it until actually just recently. Aha, here it is. This article from the Daily Signal. California considers funding, are you guys ready for this? Are you ready for this? Considers funding abortion tourism as part of a plan to become sanctuary if Roe is overturned. Yeah, you heard it right. California will sponsor you to have an abortion no matter where you're at, including airfare, hotel, the price of having the abortion. They will fly you from wherever you're at. They will hold you, they'll put you in a hotel room. They'll take care of it. Food, room, board, the whole 9 yards. That's what they are willing to do just to make sure that you can still get your abortion. So if you live in the great state of California, and if Roe versus Wade is overturned, that means that the decision is out of the hands of the federal government and goes to the states. Did you know that there were several states prior to Roe versus Wade that already had abortion laws on the book? And what was something that was within the purview for the state governments to be able to decide, per the 10th Amendment, the Supreme Court claimed supremacy over a case that they had no supremacy to decide, made all those laws null and void. Unconstitutional, might I add. Yeah. We're living in interesting times, guys. We really are. Interesting times. Well, guys, that is all I got for you this evening. There are a few more articles in here, but nothing real major, nothing real extravagant. If you guys are interested in what is over there, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, And there you will see my magazine on Flipboard, and you guys can check that out at your leisure. I definitely do recommend, however, reading that article on The Turn. Again, The Turn by Lyle Leibowitz, that was written December 7th of 2021, and that was on whatever magazine I said it was on earlier. Oh yeah, I'm already on that page. Well, no wonder why nothing came up. There it is. Tabletmag.com. That is TABLET mag.com. So guys, I got to go see a dog about a human. So if y'all are out and about, feel free to stop on by, say hi. Bye. This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is STINKPIKLE.com. Until next time.